All right, the news has seemed horrible for Marshawn Lynch, and I'm not going to say we've been desperately looking for a loophole, but I'd kind of like to find a loophole, and we may have found one from Andrew Brandt. Used to be a Packers front office guy. I was with ESPN, and we did an interview with him that is obviously podcasted. He talked about the situation with Marshawn Lynch, and the scenario that he brought up, Bob, before we get into all the details, was something that I don't think we'd talked about or thought about, that the Seahawks might be in the position, the league might say to them, Andrew Brandt thinks they will, you guys handle the punishment.
Yeah, and if that'll be a lucky day for Marshawn Lynch, if that is in fact the case. I think you and I both believe that Roger Goodell is going to take the reins on this one, because he's the one that handed out the 3-game suspension to him before. So he's had meetings with Marshawn. He's had him sitting right in front of him before. I would imagine he'd like to have a chance to readdress and say, all right, we talked before, tell me what's going on. But if it's put in the hands of John Schneider and Pete Carroll, to me that's a great day for Marshawn Lynch, because I can't imagine they do anything other than a 1-game suspension. Or the one thing that we did learn is that they could hand out a punishment, and if Goodell looks at it and says, nah, that's not good enough, he can swoop in and readjust, if you will. So they've got to make it, I guess, harsh enough to where there isn't a danger of him coming in and making it a lengthier suspension, but at the same time they don't want to go too light otherwise it's just going to look like a joke.
Well, and there's precedent for it with the Ben Roethlisberger case. For the most part, Brandt said you had the sense that the Steelers were talking with the league all along about what they were going to do in that case, and there might be another similar situation here. In the late word that we got from Lynch's attorney, that there may be some discrepancies in. Now, we both believe that he's already gotten pulled over, that a lot of things did happen that night. It looks like on a technicality, there might be, at least as far as today's news is concerned, he might get out of the particular charges.
Yeah, because according to his attorney, he said his initial breathalyzer test on the side of the road was a .08, which is the legal limit. And then when he was retested while in custody, it was higher. I don't know, they didn't give the number, but they said it was higher. It tells you, all right, there's some discrepancies between these two tests, thus making it invalid on some level. So he thinks there's a way that they could get out of it because there's a difference between the two.
Now, we both feel like in the case of Goodell, who, by the way, Ben Roethlisberger was never convicted of anything.
Never charged.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. And Lynch, in this case, was charged. But it seems to me that if it wasn't, my thought on this is this was, I guess they call it aggravated. If it was triple the legal limit, or if there were problems like that, you could probably see the league not believing that, hey, over the past 3 years, this guy has turned himself around. Now, if this is actually the case, it doesn't mean that he shouldn't have been pulled over in the first place. He should have. But if it was an on-the-line sort of circumstance, I think the Seahawks have a chance to be proactive. If I were them, I would announce the 1-game suspension right now. I would say pending the results of the investigation, and I just leave it at 1 game the whole time anyway. But I try and get out in front and maybe get a chance to, to let the league let you make the decision, because I think we both agree, man, if there's a way to get this out of Roger Goodell's hands, do it.